Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Extreme Masters PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds Invitational as we get into game number 6 in a few moments' time. Of course, though, after game number 5, not only does that put Team Liquid at second place even, I should say, getting ahead of myself there, but it also actually puts Scoom as first place in kills right now with 13 kills coming close to him at the moment. Obviously, Andy Pyro on Method with 12 kills as well. So some big heavy hitters there. And before we get into the game, we only have a short amount of time. Avenger, I wanted to talk to you about the condensity that we're seeing of these players going more center circle than anything, and then just having so much room around it. What do you make of that? We've seen it in quite a few games now.
I think we've seen it in nearly all the games. The density of players centered, it's to the extreme. So we have a lot of area around them, and the teams that they don't utilize this area. Usually you see a couple of teams trying to do a wide shot around one of the edges. Only one or two teams did this. You see Method coming in from the east side, just through, and they lose 2 guys from this. And I just want to see those teams, some of the teams, try to utilize this open area.
Right.
Because it's so dense in the middle.
It's so dense in the middle, but do you think that, yeah, as you're saying, something like Method coming in as they did, were there opportunities for them to maybe come in a little bit earlier so that they could have been a bit safer?
Absolutely. They should have moved about 1-2 minutes earlier, and they should have done a wide shot north. Obviously, this is hindsight, but still, you got to think this. The circle is not west, and there's so many people coming in from the southeast. So how many people are there up northwest? Not many. We saw it because we saw the map, but there's only 2 teams up there.
Steel, our drop zone weather forecast man, over towards the end. I want to know, when do some of these teams really start making big deviations? We've seen some, especially the qualified teams. I see they have a bit more variance in where they're going to be dropping, more drop dependent in general, plane dependent even, I should say. When do they get this variety going, like the other teams, for example?
I think you only have a handful of teams that will do a plane dependent drop. I think most of the teams are sticking to their guns, and I think it will stay the same for this game, and then if anything, it's going to be on game 7 and 8 that we're going to see a deviation from that plan.
Yeah, it feels like, as I said, when it comes to the qualified teams that we're able to do, so people like Crimson, Wind and Rain, DC, Ghost Gaming, and Contractors have been so varied in their drop patterns, whereas from the invited teams, it's really only Cloud9 and Penta that have mixed things up a little bit and kind of shifted focus. So coming into this game now, we're getting down to the wire here for a lot of these teams to try and catch up with someone like TSM who has 1,000 points. What kind of more radical moves could people try to kind of gain some of those edges, especially if they're in kind of the lower half of the standings?
I don't think that we see any of these teams in the lower half of the standings. I don't think they can jump and contest some of the teams they know where they are. I think they're going to play their own game, but just with the deviation from the plane depending jobs.
I think it's just going to come down to wherever the circle goes, it's going to dictate a lot, because we saw it in this last game. We saw Penta, Liquid, Luminosity, like they were doing really well in terms of winning their fights. And I think that if the circles end up in a big open area or an area where there's not a lot of buildings to hide in, not a lot of vehicles, if you're forced to do fights, I think some teams are going to just excel in that type of environment. And then we see Liquid coming out on top here because they've got really good fraggers on the team. And I think that if we get another circle that kind of looks like that, so maybe if it's in the mountains towards Stalber, for example, or just anywhere else, if you're forced to fight, I think some teams are going to do better.
All right, well, thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm very excited eventually to see some conflicts happen, especially in the early game. Maybe if they do come along, or if people stick to their guns, avoid the fights, and look to play a little bit more passively. We're going to head over to the commentary team here for game number 6 of the Intel Extreme Masters Oakland.
Thank you so much, guys. And yeah, you know what's about to happen. We get to see how this one unravels. So looking at the drop, we have it from south, kind of veering off towards the west. So the northeast teams who maybe play out towards Yazway might have a little issue, but really there's not that many teams, so this could be quite a good one again. Might be quite condensed towards a central area.
Absolutely. This is going to be interesting. So far, it's been a tale of 2 strategies for me. We saw that talked about a little bit earlier. Penta, teams like that on the hunt, chasing down ninjas in pajamas, trying to eradicate them to get the kill count. Other side of the coin, Noble, TSM, teams trying to play away, get away from their opponents, make sure they go deeper, longer, get more points for placement. This is a very tough play in order for the second strategy to work. A lot of these teams are going to be forced into early fights.
Where are FaZe?
FaZe changed it up. This is a big deal. FaZe has decided not to go to their traditional location. They're doing something a little bit different here by checking out Novo. And look at this. They're actually dropping someone at over here by satellite so they can keep an eye on what's happening down in military.
I've got to say as well, Liquid look like they're a little early towards if they're going to the normal, like School Ros drop.
Yeah,
Again,
absolutely.
Keep eyes on Liquid here, keep eyes on FaZe. They're going to take over Novo. We saw other teams going for that, so a lot of deviation in this one. This is the crazy game that we've been kind of eyeing up.
Absolutely.
So TSM, usual. Noble, usual, not too surprising. Ghost Gaming, it feels like they take scrappier areas. And the center of the map is where I'm looking at. NIP looking like they're pretty standard play, but Liquid, I'm curious where they're going. I'm not sure. They can't know that FaZe are going to switch up. They can't know that AAA aren't going to take over Milta. So where is their game plan?
So we know a lot of teams had some strategies backed up in the pocket for this stage of the game. And a lot of them, I think, were waiting for a deviation plane. One that wasn't in the middle that gave them a chance to try something new. A team like Liquid coming off momentum from the last game is going to be in a good shot.
God,
but already,
this is the problem, though. When you do those long swings, you can be plucked out of the air, and Trelli is trying the best he can. Not easy to hit these, but when you do, my God, is it satisfying.
It's incredibly
We
satisfying.
do have the first circle up, though. We have a kind of east side thing. We keep in near Milta, Lipovka. You've got Shelter, Mansion. These sort of areas, which are actually not all that populated. We're looking for the cars. That's what people are going for. That road heading north from Milta is normally pretty flush for cars. You get towards that, there's a higher chance of spawning, especially towards school as well. So that could be what's going to be kind of springboarding these teams up there. But TSM's got a tricky situation now in their hands.
And you know, to talk about other teams like FaZe, they got to be ready when they landed. What? Envy with a beautiful shot takes Chipsy out on the run. A really good get for Cornshuckers who are trying to fight their way up to the top of this table right now. FaZe gonna have to transition, but remember, every team, nobody knows right now that FaZe is not in their traditional position in the middle of the circle.
Now, I'm curious if AAA may have realized this, because they could be swinging the same way. They're going to be looking for that no matter what. So I'm wondering if they're going to realize early, we can take that Milta Power side and also the terrain behind it. Keep in mind the rocks towards the north side of Milta Power, you know how strong they are. Everyone knows how strong it is. It's super good to play out of. And again, I'm wondering if that's going to be in the back of their minds. Let's look where everyone else is going at the moment. TSM, they're going to have to put a time limit on this as well. They're not afraid to play the blue, but again, you've got a lot of teams to get past them, hoping they take that northern road swing, which is very favorable right now.
Look at this. Liquid actually went back to their spot, so they looked like they were dropping too soon.
Yeah.
I think that maybe they were trying to get a car, because in this circle, in this stage of the game, getting those vehicles is going to be absolutely powerful. You already see Valiant in a car trying to move, taking shots. So we're back to a really congested area right here, which is tough, because most of the movement we're going to see is going to be coming out and through this choke point. So Liquid needs to get their gear and get out of there, but that's hard to do when you've got Ninjas in Pajamas, Alliance, and Wind and Rain right nipping at your heels.
So looking at Liquid, it looks like they're going for like Mansion and then maybe Trash Loot up north maybe, or head towards Lipovka. Obviously a possibility too. Outside of that, the teams who have the stronghold at the moment, for me at least, are AAA and FaZe. FaZe will probably be able to get a boat, if I'm honest.
Yep.
Minimum from that area. They've got a lot of freedom to that. They might get pressure from EG, but AA have the entirety of that kind of comfort zone. You do have Penta not far off. Another team that's had a bit of a deviation here, at least with Simsy.
Absolutely, and if you do think about it, a lot of teams still avoiding what's traditionally thought of as the FaZe Clan's area of the map. It's totally eliminated right now. It's totally empty, and the only people who know that it's a safe place to make a transition to is FaZe. And FaZe, guess what? There's probably a boat there by Novo that allows them to move into their traditional spot. So if that does happen, they'll be very, very happy.
I'm wondering if AA do have a look towards this. I think that's a real strong possibility that they might eye it up if they don't move early. I'm looking at Monkey here, who's already kind of taken the kind of northeast trasher. Or I say trash loot. It's not. It's just pretty good. The buildings actually like northeast, east of the main Milta town are actually pretty decent, but obviously it's not the kind of cluster of it. And we can see him work his way through. I'm wondering if eventually they do build out towards Milta Power. I don't know if they've kept complete check or if anyone went near them. You're kind of keeping eyes to the sky to a degree, but not too much. So we're going to see teams starting to maybe work their way through here as well. I'm wondering when those kind of cars start coming through, when they start eyeing up the movements here, because a lot of the teams have taken, you know, that Gatka side of the map, and they're pretty much stuck there for a while.
Yeah, you'll see two options. It's 1 minute and 40 seconds left. So what we're going to see is the early movers like C9 doing right now and Method, and then we'll see the late movers. They're going to wait till about 40 seconds left on the circle to get in their cars and head out of town. The early movers are in a good position because they have less loot, but this is a circle that requires hold, with almost 30 or 40% of the circle being over water right now. That means it's going to get very congested very quickly, and the only way to remove remove that congestion is to get in there fast and take your opponents out as they arrive.
This is very different from Method as well. Even in the looting phase here, they're moving early. We saw they were quite late to rotations last time, especially out of Pachinki. They've been quite quick on that. They still have Leighton and I think it's Energetic Turtle still in there, but they're doing the 2-2 split.
Yep.
Something that I know they like to do. They actually like to do that in circles as well. If they don't know the next circle piece, they'll try and get 2 players in slightly varying positions to always ensure they have that 1 rotate 2 point.
And it's worth noting, this is a very similar circle that we saw in Game 4 at this stage of the game yesterday. So all of these teams went home, they watched a replay with a very similar circle and discussed what they would have done had they had this again. And then they get given it 2 games later. So a lot of these teams are going to feel very confident. Like we said, they're all confident about today. They knew what to do in this situation. So we should see a lot of set pieces and a lot of really good gunfights as everyone's going to be sort of searching to get those compounds early on.
Yeah, the Blues going to start shifting them soon enough, about 25 seconds until that starts to become a issue, let's say. But I am wondering now as well, because the one thing I guess about the western side of this map, it does have a slightly lesser chance of cars, but it does seem as though right now at least Digital Chaos have got themselves a few, so they can kind of, I guess, chain themselves out. They're still fine. There's Moleman. Oh, he's got a bit of a glimpse here. That's a lovely shot as well from Moleman, leading that like a champ. 1 more will do the job, maybe 2 at that point. But good work on damage and wind and oh, Moleman, get back to cover. You've got to be careful. Don't overextend in these early days, and back down to the shelter he goes.
Absolutely. Back into the bunker. He's going to go ahead and be able to move himself around, find a new position. That's kind of the fun part of shelter, is you can pop back out and surprise somebody very effectively. And there we go. So if you look at the map real quick, I just want to show you FaZe did get lucky after this, and they got their rotation easily. But a nice shot by Frolicker. Gets 1 knockout by Sweater. He'll be able to finish this in C9. They just have had really tough rotations today. Every time they're getting taken shots.
And you have Method up the top of the hill as well, so there's not exactly anywhere to rest. And it looks like, yeah, there's Andy coming into this. We know this guy's got firepower as well. Crunch needs to get away, but the car is burning at this point. And it does seem as though he might be able to... No! Just LIP stay alive. Borg and Crunch are very lucky men at this point.
Absolutely. Now X is down and left behind, so he's going to be able to hide behind a tree and hope for the best. Ninjas in Pajamas not happy with their situation. Frolicker still locked down at that high broken wall. Going to be able to watch everybody as they transition across here. He picked a kill-heavy hiding spot, and I like that decision.
He's also playing a dangerous game, though. Level 1 helmet at this point out in the open. You can get plugged out here, and Eddie Pyro, another victim here, running past the EG players, trying to swerve their way around. The last seconds, the Method boys do manage to take down one of the members of EG.
Pandago goes boom. It was a tough transition. These guys are in a really good spot. Method knows that kills matter as you see them executing Ninjas as X tries to get himself to safety. So what a great spot. This is Andy Pyro's bread and butter.
Yeah, he's just comes alive in these situations. Now we're going to see all the teams from the western side working their way east. Most of them have cars here. You've got the rest of Method now joining up. Bear in mind, there's only 2 members of the Method team in that Wizard Tower waiting. But for the likes of Cloud9, they actually have a good idea from where some of these teams are. You're hearing a lot of these shots, a lot of the players that you're fighting being killed by others, so you're getting a bit of an idea. Now, FaZe, look at where they are. This is very interesting to me. They've not only had Novo, they now have Milton. They've got the power station. Good high ground, good rotate spots to and from. You can take fights, and that circle should favor them for a while. They even have a boat there somewhere, so they're going to hold that southern side, and I wonder if AAA don't realize they're there.
Absolutely. There's a couple of really great spots here we talk about. There's holds up on all of those rock locations. Teams are going to kind of rush to, hope the circle favors them.
TSM, where's your car?
So we've got these guys up here. We're going to see Crimson go into there. We've got a spot above FaZe. We've got Milta, and then we have Small Power that are all really good hold positions depending on where the circle ends up.
Now, to be fair to Liquid, there's a compound just to their east that I really like, the 2-tier compound. One on the higher ground, you've got a small compound lower. I find that's beautiful. I think that's a really nice one to hold. Obviously, circle dependent now. That's going to be a huge factor. The blue is moving in, so Noble, TSM, got to get moving. That's the main picture here. Shiv, his way out in the dust here. He does have a compound to make his way in towards. Monkey's already locked this one down, so they've got themselves a car, bit of safety, and just going to hunker down now.
Everybody's going to jump in, start moving towards middle. We'll see Luminosity start to make their way as well. But again, looks like Tempo Storm still throwing down a little bit with Method here as Energetic Turtle's trying to push up. Leighton's going to give him a pickup, called his Uber, hops on in, and they're going to head into the zone a little bit quicker here. Up on top of the circle in the north, I'm a little worried about Alliance on their rotation as they've got to go by a couple of really big teams here.
Who sits in the front of an Uber?
The driver. Oh, that guy. That guy.
Wow.
I know one of those guys.
All right, let's keep eyes on how this one unfolds because we're going to start seeing teams fighting for that real estate, trying to get as center as they like. We heard it discussed on the desk that a lot of central players been coming through. Now, nice gear here for the FaZe boys. We've got that 4x sitting on that. Not a level 2 helmet, a little bit of a lack on that front, but I mean, outside of that, DC starting to struggle. They were working their way from that western side, just about making it through here, already being pinned down. And Penta, we know they are going all in on this. They're getting frags left, right, and center.
Everyone else is trying to avoid fights. Penta doesn't care. You saw him running and punching at that point because that is how Penta feels right now. They know they want kills. They got to work their way out of last. These are the guys who are playing commando style. Another team that could go a little commando. Cornshuckers love to seek that fight out. They were in 5th place going into today, so they don't have to find as many kills, but they have been playing very aggressive once they get into the fight zone.
Yeah, they've got the kind of long swing around the top of Yasnaya to deal with, but once they're there, they'll be fine. A lot of the cars now coming in through from TSM. TSM taking a very long route as well. Look at that. Far up on that northern road. They'll be working their way through there for a while, so they'll be late to this fight. That's no problem. This first circle isn't too bad. It's after this it starts to build up, and Penta eyeing up more people. The rest of Method starting to struggle. 6 shots coming out from Jeems. The range on these guys as well. That's Ultra taking the final kill. Oh, Leighton is in so much trouble. He's just about hung on, but there it is. Solid FPS actually was the one to claim him in the end, so those kill steals certainly coming through.
Actually, Solid FPS knocked him, and then Penta Ultra came back and killed him. So he said, I started killing this car. I'm going to take the kills. None for you, sir. And I like that style. Penta playing very aggressively to get back into this one. I like to see that out of these players early on in this game. And it is a very congested area we have here. You can tell all these teams want to take the circle. The circle comes out, and they get what they want. FaZe in a really good position here because of the circle. AAA already in a good spot, and a lot of teams going to have to push into this. Noble in a little bit of a fight up north trying to deal with this tick. Here's the transition coming from Flamingos chasing Liquid as they take fire from Crimson.
The problem is, for me, Liquid don't have much safety to go to. Most of the compounds are now taken, and Tempo Storm, the bit of a battle from the last round, might kick off again if they try and take this. Tempo Storm don't need to take this fight again on the high ground. If the car drives past on the lower side, it's very hard to land shots, so Scream's relatively safe here. But still, we'll see how this one goes as everyone's now trying to work their way down slightly further south.
Absolutely. It looks like Liquid may try to go to Pride Rock, potentially above Prison. We've got Ninjas Pajamas in Prison, which could be a huge risk for them. Getting out of it is almost impossible. FaZe taking some shots at Ghost Gaming. Ghost Gaming was trying very hard to get to a strategic position up here on the rocks, but FaZe saw them and now has them pinned down in a place where they don't have a lot of defilade cover, and Tempo Storm, who's coming right now, could potentially catch them from behind if FaZe holds them in place.
And the problem is here, you're walking into FaZe's domain. This is their safety point. This is what they love to do, so they're going to be locking that side down as best they can. If you want to take that from them, you better be ready for a fight.
Absolutely.
Beautiful with the 4x as well. You can tap away at people, so that's going to really factor in nicely. Liquid still looking for a home to get to. We're seeing Ronin as well working their way in. Wind and Rain. The rest of the team's kind of working their way through. Look at LG as well. They're playing very late here. Very late.
LG mentioned a little bit they had something planned for today. They were going to change it up just a little bit, and it seems like they studied those sort of edge strategies and brought that into the game right now. That said, FaZe very happy. They're playing in their... Wow, Wind and Rain. Let's jump to that. It was a nice pickoff on Crimson as Jazza is left with no help whatsoever. Wind and Rain coming in on foot, but this is FaZe's domain as it looks like they're taking shots out there as we see Flamingos trying to get through. Ghost Gaming also going to open fire on them. Austin has them in their sights. We'll push them on by. The problem is if Ghost Gaming can't finish this, then FaZe probably can. And these guys are going to have a very tall order. You can see Tony V driving right into Fuzzface right now as FaZe opens fire.
Yep, there it is. A couple of shots coming in, waiting for them to land. You're going to have to lead those pretty well, but you can see that the tags are coming out, and oh, that's problematic. One more bullet as he tries to find a second for cover, but this fight's elsewhere. Penta again, relentless aggression from these guys. Constantly wanting more, and that's a lot of kills to rack up here. You're going to see that Uzi coming through, and maybe if he gets the kill.
It's almost like Penta put tracking tags on everyone before this game and has been following them like a Nature Channel special as they just hunt people down one by one. Beautiful shots from Mixie. Can he finish the job? Hunter Rounds hops his way to the rocks and will hide out. And kudos to Mixie for not wasting his time too long. He immediately checks his right side to make sure he's not being flanked.
As much as this is people playing very center circle, I'm surprised no one's taking that south area towards Milty. You know, that kind of solo kind of petrol station area. Very good loot as well. No one's near that. Again, the rocks on the southern side, very powerful.
It is a very powerful spot. The problem you run into is if the circle doesn't favor you, those are wide open push positions that will get you picked off every time. So they will rush there once the circle tells you to go there.
I would say that there is some nice terrain features.
True.
There is that kind of defilade that runs around the road you can use nicely. But again, maybe you don't want to put yourself in that spot without having to be there. But it looks like Boom's already going to find a couple of victims here, and the kills are starting to come through as Austin lays down the fire with that hollow sight. just on the 4-1-6. His teammate down, though, looking for the revive to come in, and they feel as though they've got a second to be able to make that happen.
Ghost locked in a tough position. It's a great spot to get picks, but no one's going to transition through here right now. So Ghost has to pray that they get a circle that forces FaZe to move so that they can get out of where they are right now, which is stuck between the containers. Jumping over to Noble, who's making a big transition right now. They're trying to get themselves into this circle. They're pretty far out, though, and they've got to go through Alliance and Crimson to get inside.
So the Blue's starting to move here. Now, Ninja's pretty far out at the moment. He's not actually moving with the circle just yet. The south side of this isn't under too much strain, and actually it looks like Scoom's gone down as well. The Slayer from last time managed to be knocked. Not killed just yet. We'll see if he actually does manage to keep himself in this one, but a lot of the kills coming through as the new circle's been seen and people are starting to have to eye up what's going on, and everyone's now folding through on this. You can see it here as Hayes does manage to take out Tony. So again, Liquid keeping up on the kills here.
We've got a couple of hot spots coming out on the map. A lot of places we're going to see
Hollywood's
conflict.
still there. Yeah, Liquid are now finding the fight back in them, and you can see they want to get these guys back up, but that Car 98 could be doing so much work. That 8 times peering over the ridge, but there's a second to be able to get these revives in, so maybe it's not over yet for Liquid. They can possibly get these revives through, and they won't lose out on too much. They're at the top of the hill. They're playing quite a dangerous game, and look at CE. They're just behind them here. That could be a problem. If they swing around that kind of lumber camp, they're going to be in real problems.
Absolutely. Texas is a good hold position, and that's what Liquid's trying to do. Get to the middle of this circle and minimize any risk from where the circle's going to go. In the meantime, if you look up north, Noble finally pushing in, taking fire. Tempo Storm as well. Elusive here, crawling around, trying to find a position to move in right now. Zampa a little less careful than his counterpart.
He's just like gunning it through, like, all right, where you at? Well, he's going to dive down for cover, get the bit of a heal on. This is a nice old position. You can actually tuck right back down that hill. But this fight, you're playing against hard ground, or hard cover at least, that they can kind of back into. And you know that if you even knock them, they're going to get that revive. And you don't want to keep those helmets getting broken here as well. Paradox gets reminded on this. And look at TSM going on that wide swing, getting the boats, getting it going. FaZe still doing damage, looking for kills. And oh, that's a nice shot. You know that SKS isn't all that. No one likes the SKS. But I mean, they're trying to make it work. And the Scar now, exactly. It's like, all right, screw the SKS. I gave it a go, and we'll just go to this one. But it's an extended fight, so you're working through your own. Wow, that was a shot and a half. You blink and you miss it. McCoy suffering at the hands here. So again, at the moment, every team working their way through. I think most are in relative safety here, so that next circle is going to move a lot of players.
This is a massive circle for everyone. TSM running the edge of it. They're going to wait and see what it comes out to, so let's give it just a second. This is big right now. There they are. So they're going to make that rotation that you like so much. You called the rocks. This is where they're going. They'll get there first.
Do you know what, Colaris? Next time, don't mention water circles. How about that, huh, bud? How about that one?
He summoned it down.
Wait, hold on. It looks like Noble have found Liquid.
Ooh.
Yeah, so TSM are going to go for the long play. They're just going to be playing this one out. They're doing the dirty, but it is what it is. Everyone else has to move. They've got to make their way south. This is almost every team. No one was in this position prior. So every single team now needs to make that journey and try and make this count. It looks like now Hayes going down. It does feel as though Noble have done everything they could have done here to get the job done. And at the moment, you're seeing now Method trying to make their way through. They're not far off this either. Hearing those shots, not too far away. Andy's on the prowl. This guy loves a good fight if he can find one, but got to be careful. There's so many possible issues.
This area is defined by a couple of hold spots and a final fight location. So what we're going to see is these teams with some nice shots. Nomi taking shots at Frost here, but yellow is spots that are easily holdable and are going to be premium spots to get. Red is a dead zone at this time. In about one circle, red becomes a good spot because of the defilades that you mentioned. Yep. But for now, most of these teams are dreading moving through there.
Do you know what? You can still play Novo's side. If you really want to play the long game, you could do this. I'm wondering if TSL, FaZe gets an absolute eyeful here as CE do try and make their way in towards that Wizard Tower, try and find some cover, a bit of respite from this. And these are the hills that are behind that compound I was discussing. They're incredibly strong. You can have 2, 3, 4 teams up in this area that have safety from each other. There are safe spots up here. So again, you're going to see these guys try and put themselves in the best positions possible.
TSM playing a very long game. They are going to get a drop to their camping location. The problem they're going to run into is it's not an easy hill to push up towards where Penta is setting up shop. FaZe also rushed down there, sitting right next to Penta inside of that circle, and now we're going to see the fights. GG, actually, Ghost Gaming stopped at the defilade you mentioned and is taking shots at everyone driving by. Ghost Gaming knows they need kills to win this tournament, and that's what they're going to do is set themselves up in a shot place to get that.
And I would say teams who took the risk on going to high loot areas when it comes to these positions, especially those south side rocks, will now come into their own because you get those 8 times, you get those 4 times. around. Noble now taking a couple of bullets going their way from the AAA boys up in the Wizard Tower. Decent cover here, couple of hills, couple of trees, but a couple of shots. Make it just one shot. We'll take down Boom. He wants more, though. You can see they're switching in between. Going to try and get the fire down. As Noble now have to try. Oh, this control is exceptional.
Absolutely.
Brilliant work.
Worth noting, FaZe stole that kill. AAA got the knock, and then FaZe stole it out from under them. Meanwhile, Cornshucker's going head-to-head with GG. Elusive is down. Profi with the push, comes over the rocks, looking for his target, goes for the spray. Zanpa down. Profi barely stays alive, but he wins the one-on-one.
But now everyone knows what's going on. All eyes turn. TSM just circle around Luminosity as well in the water. Ultra here looking for his next opportunity, and we're going to see them pulling up by the rocks. Can everyone put on the Pirates of the Caribbean theme tune? I'd appreciate that. Who's up on that with the car now? I want to see who's on that position, because if they land shots towards LG, I will be losing my mind. But at the moment, they're actually running low on fuel as well in that boat, so keep that in the back of your minds here.
They're going to camp out and wait for their chance. Meanwhile, Tempo Storm trying to find a place for themselves. They take a lot of fire from FaZe. FaZe going to turn and face them here. Haxit watching the back approach Spectre. He knows there's a big open field here. He takes shots, gets a beautiful shot on Noble. Noble has just been getting no breaks here. They've been caught from 3 sides, and they're just doing nothing but rezzing each other for the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, they've been really struggling. Now, we said that Liquid were done, but Molman's still alive. He's been playing the long game. He's still out there in the background, in the blue, just struggling away. Don't worry about him. We'll see. We'll see if he makes it. At the moment, FaZe control the ground. They're taking fights. It looks like TSM have been spotted out, and it looks like they're taking a fight towards LG. So that's an interesting one. And it does seem like Break is getting the job. Ninja, he died from falling? What is going on?
If you get knocked on the boat, you die from falling out of the boat.
It must have been. So again, wait and see how this one goes down. Ninja does go down as well. So at the moment, it looks like TSM have won that fight. They'll be controlling the water for now. But actually, look, Vis has worked his way up too. They control so much of this circle, and it's gone east.
So Vis was playing the scout role to make sure they have a beachhead to come on. He's starting the mountain goat. He's going to clear out an area, which is actually good. It's probably best for TSM that they didn't get the circle, because that means there's no conflict to taking the high ground. That said, Penta, the hunters, the guys who have been taking kills left and right are in the circle on the high ground position. They can see almost everything from where they are, and they're going to be in a really good spot to fight this out. That said, FaZe not only holds the compound, but they hold the high ground as well. So FaZe in a really good strategic position here.
Yeah, it looks like Method as well, very much stuck here. They're in the lumber camp and they're not moving, so I'm curious if they've just run out of options. They're just going to heal this one out. I'm not too sure, but for now, that southeast side is now going to be lighting up the kill feed. Simsy still holds a good position here, maybe hoping he's got a little bit more range than he has with that 2 times, but now you can see the Alliance guys laying down some real trouble. Noble on the other side. How is he alive here? Just about stays alive with it. Minuscule amount of health.
Zygo just is the man that doesn't want to quit. He's surviving for his team. He's going as deep as he can.
They're just rolling into this like absolute madmen. Smacks on the other side, but they're letting Penta take all the attention, and there it is.
They made it over the edge, but it wasn't enough.
He's gone for it, but there's a player down there, I'm pretty sure, and it is Vis taking down Solid FPS and Chappie. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. You can't escape, even if you dive off the edge.
2 cars off, 4 guys dead is how we come away from that one. So sometimes making a run for the water, not always your safest bet.
All right, so who's in the water for now? We have Tempo Storm there, a couple of players playing on the edge of this. You do have GG still up top on the rocks. Everyone else still kind of keeping themselves to themselves here. No one's really kind of just diving in. We're not seeing this straight up water circle just yet.
I think in this game, the teams you're going to see going to the water are the games who are in sort of the top 8 right now. The rest of them need to secure those kills, and they need to do that quickly. So you're going to see teams like Penta being very aggressive. GG taking some shots at the guys in the water. Define legit, very good with that weapon. The question is, can you get them in that brief second where they pop their head up?
It's like whack-a-mole.
It is like whack-a-mole. He does get one whack, but then the mole goes back underground.
And let's be honest, everyone is favoring the guy shooting them in the water. Just like, please take these people away.
The problem is when you focus on shooting the moles, that's when you get caught from behind. So you always have to be aware of what's happening behind you. Speaking of, Crimson gets bled out.
And Method have made it in. They were running for a long time. They have just about made it through, but they're surrounded. They've got Alliance players around them as well. Fuzzface here for FaZe, keeping tabs across. And FaZe are racking up the kills as well. Good tax coming through. And Ghost Gaming, well, they're still firing shots into these guys, trying to use the pylons for cover. Good return, though. That's going to force Profi off the angle.
Profi loses the angle. That's a heaven sent for Alliance, who can finally take a breather and try to get themselves back up, but immediately fuzzes right back on the shot.
It looks like Alliance are about to swing in towards Method. I'm not sure if Sigsy's noticed it or what's going on there. And now this, he sees a pixel out of place and he wants it. Let's see if he can make something out of that one. Keep your eyes on the kill feed, but Shiv as well. And bear in mind, these are the guys who have the hard cover here. You have FaZe with a good compound. You've got AA with a good compound. The rest are out in the open, so these shots are going to hurt. Not many places to hide towards.
No, and Wind and Rain finding that out the hard way, that you don't want to try to hide behind a tree when you got AAA staring down at you, especially when that man is shivved with a full rec. So he's going to be watching very carefully. FaZe going to be holding down the middle of the compound yet again. The circles favor them, and they hold everything that's in the circle essentially and approach vectors. They open fire here on Rom, trying to get on the inside. FuzzFaze letting him up. Rom does get by because the motorcycle 125 is just fast enough to get him to the compound, but he's taking fire from behind.
See if he can make it to anywhere, but the developer might be waiting pretty close by. He is, and he's going to spring the trap here from the petrol station, laying down shots. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to stay alive. Monkey now knows what's up. He knows there's a threat. This dark little corner, as you can see, everyone else now working their way through every single rock. Every single area contains so many threats now.
And I love that Valley was able to get to the high ground. If he can survive here with TSM firing from the outside, whoever wins the TSM Team Tempo Storm fight will be able to control. Meanwhile, Penta James up on the high ground, shooting down on AAA as they relocate. But you don't want to deal with Monkey, so he's going to dive back behind the rock.
Not a developer's still really close by the way. He is very much within that compound, but that back row of cover is still going to be the main feature of this as the drops come in and a couple of shots come out. James laying down some fire. Monkey looking to keep himself in this one, but I'm curious where Not a Developer actually is, because he was right here just a moment ago as Monkey still continues the fight as Jempty still is in good position.
So he's living up to his team name, standing alone, just sort of hiding out, trying to go a little bit deeper and trying to catch someone off guard. It's not a bad strategy, especially at this stage of the game when you've got the circle. Wind and Rain stuck on the outside. They have no way to get in. TSM finally clears through. AimPR and his partner have made it right up on top of Tempo Storm. We should see that fight develop here in just a minute or two. Meanwhile, FaZe still just very comfortably holding everyone out.
But the thing is, Ghost Gaming could do TSM a favor here by taking down Tempo Storm. It depends on the timing, though. We'll see how that one comes through. FuzzFace did manage to knock out 8C, so Method's starting to dwindle in numbers here. It might just be down to, I think, Andy standing, so the revive might be a possibility, but who knows. Monkey still not relenting. This guy just wants to keep them locked out. You know they want kills, they want fights. They just want to keep these guys locked in. They don't allow them to get the peaks, but Penta now as well, finding TSM. Penta moving south side on the circle and managed to catch a few out.
Penta, very smart play, on the hunt all the time. But again, the real kings for me here is the fact that FaZe holds almost 2/3 of the compound right now. Nobody can seem to get in there except Rom, who's just hiding out behind them. GG crossing the rocks, trying to hold their position and praying that the circle will favor them. Meanwhile, TSM and TS very close together. FaZe with a beautiful shot. That's what happens when you have so much control over so much of the map. If somebody steps into your zone, they go down. Texas with a tall order, trying to get past Jempty here, looking and bobbing and weaving, hoping he can use the duck walk to get by, but he's taking fire from both sides.
I just don't see this happening for him. The blue's going to come in, maybe try and stay alive, maybe make a mad dash for it and just pray that they're not looking your way. But you can see the health is ticking down for him, so it's very unlikely he's going to make it out here. And AimPR waiting for the moment to strike and bobs up for a second, gets his breath and dives back down. Dre's not sticking around for long.
He doesn't have a chance to get a lot of air in, though, so this is the point where he's got to continue to surface. He's stuck outside. Can he get in? And they'll leave one person to hold this while the rest push into the circle.
They need to move now. That circle is not sitting on the rocks. They need to get in closer towards this area where AA are being dominant. This could be the game that they finally get that win. They've been desperate for this as well, but they've got problems around. Wind and Rain. FaZe now rotating back up north. Alliance still there, but they have that jump off man. The early rotate in Jempty. He's already locked down a good building, so they can get into a really nice spot here, and maybe Ghost Gaming can be a nuisance, maybe not. We're going to find out what position they can get and if they can lay down some fire, because they might just catch him in the heels.
FaZe moved at the right time. If they had moved 8 seconds to 10 seconds later, Ghost Gaming would have caught them out and ruined them.
We'll see if they get any angles on this. I don't think they'll get too many, and they'll move in pretty late to this circle. Again, you're seeing Monkey manage. He did actually find Not a Developer in the end. So 22 alive. It's starting to get intense. And there's still a little bit of that building within this cover, so that's not the big problem here. But there you can see Tempo Storm and TSM starting to get into the fight. And it is all Tempo Storm. AimPR and Break go down. And looking for any opportunity for a revive. It's not going to happen. The execution.
Them alive as
really
they get taken out. Beautiful play.
But Vis, what's your game plan? Do you want to try and avenge him? Do you want to get a kill? Do you want to position for their cross? How are you going to play this now? Because you have to try and do everything for your team. They're in a good spot. He's going to spot out one, but he makes the peak. Just so the ridge is so dangerous. Your helmet can get shredded, but he actually takes down the opponent's helmet, which is the important thing, allowing them a second or two to climb up. Vis is under pressure here.
Tempo and TSM, both top 5 teams fighting to try and stay in that. So getting ahead of your opponent here is very valuable, but the blues coming in, it's going to lock them out.
You just got shredded. There's nothing you can do about that. FaZe and AA in great positions. Axe, they're going to be trying to lay down some fire. He does just that. Alliance now being pushed aside. Rom is down. Now look across, 17 left standing. The edge of the circle is where people are going to be because you can't go central on this. And FaZe and AAA get the positions to move forward in such a great spot here. Penta can still cause so much trouble. You're going to see that right now.
Penta and Ghost Gaming don't have to move too soon. They can try to catch FaZe as AAA as they rotate through the compound. Valiant going for the heal, trying to stay alive, but the tick is just so strong at this time. He's probably going to go out just healing for position. And that will be, no, he gets the heal off, so that'll last at least 1 or 2 more times. Meanwhile, FaZe taking shots across the way. Penta, Simsy going to heal himself up as he waits for his chance to push in. They send James forward as a scout, so James going to try to find a defilade or some sort of cover to bring his team into here. Meanwhile, Ghost Gaming going to rotate around the outside, so look for that. Haxit, though, is keeping an eye on that entire uphill position. Monkey goes out to the containers, should see the peak as Penta comes up over the top. James already taking some fire. Monkey in a good position to stop them from coming over the hill.
40 seconds to make their move, 14 alive. They need to full stim and start running because this one's getting painful. James with a great connection towards the top of the hill, just about finding a couple of pickles to make a connection towards with 4 times. Very minute amount, but GG in trouble. Down to a 1-shot, no armor, ducks back in for cover, but they need to start considering to move to the circle. You're seeing Penta going south. They're going to take the fight on GG. You've got FaZe and AA just steps away from each other. It's who moves first, who would dare do it. Ultrafine. The GG guys in this phase to move. They're going to try and make their way towards the long barn here, get themselves in. No one's actually in there just yet. GG clears up towards Penta. They've locked this one down, and that's brilliant. They're taking a little bit of blue damage to get into the good position, and now they wait. The push is surely going to come in, and we're going to see these teams now polarized in position.
While we were watching that transition, Penta went head-to-head with Ghost Gaming. Ghost Gaming knocked 2. It's going very, very quickly now.
Just around the other side, the smoke, the wall just about keeps them apart as FaZe now lock themselves in. The fights on the outskirts start to begin, and now you can see Monkey lingering forward. The timing, the nades come through. FaZe lit to the floor with mines at this point as Monkey tries to avoid, tries to let that nuke go off elsewhere, and he's forced away. FaZe hold the ground in this moment, but again, look at that circle. Monkey's in it here.
Monkey is in it, but there's not a lot of cover. He's going to be pushed from 2 sides, an uphill and the warehouse, so he's got to get behind this rock, stay low, and try to go as deep as he can. He sees Hax, and he gets off a shot, but he goes forward just too fast, almost goes down, but has enough cover for a heal.
AA are taking great fights here, though. FaZe are being hammered at this point. You've got players from AA all over the place. They have their circle, and oh shit! Mixie! He wants to do it himself, but FaZe denied. Mixie won't let this happen just yet. Fuzzface actually finding Monkey as well. Maybe we wrote FaZe out this too early. They are still holding on, still getting revives, but you can see Shadow here holding that cross, and he knows they have to get past him. He is the gatekeeper in this game. He is the man who can stop them from getting this win. FaZe want it so badly, AA as well, and now we wait 18 seconds until they
FaZe has to come out. They have to come out of a door that's covered on 3 sides. It's 3v4. They're way out, man. They're way out. Gun. They get knocked. A beautiful one because they're knocking out the time for the pickup. Another goes down. They're covered from all sides. He's going to slide up and hold the door. And here we got Oroxy covering every single angle. All we've got left is Fuzzface.
It's one man against the world here for FaZe, and he wants to do everything he can. He knows he can't. He denies them the kill by running into the blue. A smart play from him. But in the end, what a moment for these guys, AAA. They came into this as maybe not a team you'd be looking at instantly, but they've grinded so hard online, and they were desperate for that victory. They needed this. Throughout day 1, they just got denied. They were struggling so much, but they came in and gave us a really good matchup.
This is the team who has performed well all year. They're very consistent. You see, if you go back to their transitions last night, everything they do is strategically planned. Long rotations, strong pushes, and big holds. It all came together, and man, oh man, Monkey scored that circle outside the warehouse, and FaZe had nowhere to go but into the hammer.
Yeah, no, it's brilliantly positioned. You had men, literally in the circle, one watching the cross. Their positioning is actually very impressive. Now let's have a look at this one as well. Penta, great amount of kills for them. They were really hammering it in this. So I'm wondering where, we get left with the leaderboards at this point. I still feel as though it's anyone's game. I'm curious, to see where TSM landed in that one as well. Liquid had a bit of a rough game. I think it was 16th for them in the end. I don't know, there's a lot of things that could change this leaderboard now.
Absolutely, but what really stands out to me, and these games have been great today, because teams like Ghost and Penta, who had rough days yesterday, knew they had to play, came in playing so aggressive. I mean, look at the kill counts on these two teams. Yeah. They know what they have to do and they're doing it, and it's really sort of showing that they stand a chance. They deserve to be here after yesterday, where some people were sitting back going, what's going on, guys?
Well, I do see that it looks like the interview is starting to get ready, but that is it from us. So it's been an absolute pleasure casting with you. Good job, buddy.
Absolutely.
So, guys, that's enough from us. There'll be more coming up later. Obviously, 2 more rounds away. But for now, let's check in with the winners. Finally, AA get that victory they needed.
Thank you very much indeed, guys, over the caster desk. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for AAA. Shadow, first win of the weekend then. You guys kind of needed this to bring you back into kind of challenging those top teams. How are you feeling?
Yeah, we needed one win. We've been pretty consistent, but yeah, the win brings a lot of points, and it changed everything pretty much. So yeah.
We've been watching you guys now online, obviously as Evolve, Mac, before you were picked up. Do you feel there's quite a lot of pressure on you? Because we've all, especially from the casters desk and the analysts, we've been saying you guys are coming here. You're definitely a contender to win this, but you obviously had to come through the qualification process. Yeah. Do you feel any pressure at all?
No, the pressure was on the qualifier mainly, but we are already happy to be here today. So yeah, I mean, we play and enjoy, and that's it.
What was the plan of attack then last night? So obviously you went away. What did you do when you got back to the hotel? What did you as a team do to kind of coming in as a fresh mind today?
Firstly, we eat a good meal.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, and we bring our PC and look the preview of the matches to see what the team did on the match, and simple analysis, you know.
Okay, well, I've got some news for you. I've just been told at the back you guys are now #1, clear of TSM by 200 points.
Oh, nice.
How's that make you feel?
Better, yeah. Feel better, yeah. But it's still 2 games to play, so everything is possible again. TSM can win 1 game and beat first again, so
okay.
To be consistent again on the last 2 runs.
Well, you know what? Your team's in the back getting ready, so I'm going to wish you the very best of luck. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Guys, don't go anywhere. Now things are starting to heat up. We have another contender. We have another first place at the top there. These teams, they're all so close, only separated by mere kills. Don't go anywhere. Back in a second.